All right, guys, welcome back. Episode 3, car thoughts. Coming home from Mobridge versus Webster. Coming home from Webster tonight, and wasn't much of a football game tonight. 50-0 was the final score. Over in the third quarter due to the mercy rule. We're going to keep this kind of one-sided, I think, as Mobridge-Pollock, very good team. They came into this game 4-0, or 3-0 rather, 4-0 now, and number 4 ranked team in Class 11B. Very good football team is Mobridge-Pollock, and I can see why. They got a big, and I mean big, offensive line. I think they average about 230 pounds on the offensive line. And then, to just add a little icing on the cake, they got a 210-pound running back who's not only powerful, but he's fast, and he's very athletic and strong, like I mentioned before, and it's just a very good all-around football player in Mac Saxon. And wow, impressive player. That's all I have to say. He is nasty. There was one play in the second half, in the third quarter, where it was an off tackle play, and he wanted to bounce it outside because there was a little bit of space, but he went searching for a defender to run over, and there was one guy there, and instead of trying to avoid him, he just was like, yeah, I'm gonna bull rush you. And that's exactly what he did, and turned what could have been a loss of yardage into a 5-yard gain. And Mac Saxon, that's a name that you guys want to remember, because I think that Mobridge-Pollock could definitely be a team in 11B that could be contending for a state championship this season. 4-0 now. They're going to be ranked in the top 5 all season long. They got a nice favorable schedule from here on out till they play Clark Willow Lake. I think it's either their second to last game or last game of the season, October 10th. Power 106.3 is gonna be on that game. I'm excited for that game. That's gonna be a fun one. I'm gonna get my first look at Clark Willow Lake next week in Groton, but I think that should be a really fun game. But let's keep it with Mobridge-Pollock, and that team. They have got their quarterback. It was a rainy night in Webster tonight, so not really conducive to throwing, but his first pass of the game in Shooter Frederick, he was 0 for 1, missed a throw high, missed a couple of throws high on some screen passes, but he comes back, his second throw of the game, 45-yard touchdown to Luke Olson. And Luke Olson just got open behind the defense, and he put it right on the money. Olson had to slow down a little bit, but not much. It was pretty much an in-stride throw. And I tell you what, this Shooter Frederick, he's not just the quarterback. He's also the punter. Well, we don't know if he's a punter. They didn't punt tonight. But he is their place kicker and their kickoff guy. And he went 4 for 5, I believe. Either 4 for 5 or 5 for 6 on PAT attempts tonight. And he's got a nice leg. If they get down to the dome, I could definitely see them kicking some field goals if they get into like a 4th and 10 from the 20 situation. I could definitely see him kicking a field goal from there, because I think he's got a really nice leg on him. In wet conditions tonight, he was really good. His first kick was the one that he missed. He pushed it right, but it was clean. He just missed it. It happens. Not every kick can be perfect, but I think that offense, behind that offensive line, behind Mac Saxon, can go a very long ways. That is going to be a very fun team to watch as this season goes along. And they had 2 punt returns for touchdowns tonight, too, on back-to-back drives, as Easton Iceman, he was very good. He's a very athletic receiver, kind of a slot guy, scat back sort of guy, get him in space and use his quickness and his athleticism, and he'll make guys miss. That's what he did on his punt return from 50 yards out. He started right, made a couple guys miss, went left, and he was off to the races once he got to the sideline. Nobody could catch him. And then Max Saxon, not only can he run for big yards, but he had a punt return for a touchdown tonight too, 65 yards. And his was a little more circus-like as he started right. He fielded it in the middle of the field, started running right, saw some space, and then made three guys miss, cut back towards the middle of the field, made another guy miss, then got all the way to the far sideline. He's quite literally switched fields from one sideline to the other sideline to score the touchdown. Very impressive from the young man. He is, I can't say enough nice words about him. He is very good. And that team, like I said, am very much looking forward to what they can do moving forward this season. Now, for Webster, they are now 0-4 on the year. They have only scored one touchdown to this season so far, and they're struggling right now. There's really not a whole lot to say about them. They have some injuries right now. Their starting quarterback is hurt, so they've been playing with their backup for pretty much the entire season, and there's not a whole lot of creativity offensively because of the injuries that they've had, and they don't have a ton of guys to work with. They just don't have that many kids out for football. It's less than 30 for an 11-man school, 11-man football team, so it just makes it tough for practice, makes it tough for games. When you have that few numbers, it makes it tough. And it actually brings me to a larger point that I want to make, and I think we should have a discussion about it, is how the Activities Association sets up their classes for football is based off of your male enrollment in the school. And they've been doing that for as long as I can remember. That's just how it is. But we've seen it in Sisseton, where the team gets so decimated, whether it be by injuries or whether it be by kids not going out. Or Sisseton actually this season dropped down. They're playing a JV-only schedule, which I think is a really good thing. I used to work up in Sisseton, so I knew their new head coach, Tyler Apple. I know him pretty well, and he said the only way that he would take the job opening is if they could play a JV schedule, and board allowed it. They got it approved and whatnot, so they're playing a JV-only schedule this season, and they're doing good. Their numbers are up. They're obviously winning a couple of games because they're at a bit of an advantage when they're playing against other JV teams, but they are winning some football games, and they're starting to build a culture of winning in Sisseton, which obviously it takes more than one season to build that culture, but it starts with one season, is what I'll say. And I think Webster, a team this team reminds me of what Sisseton's varsity team was last year. They just didn't have anything going their way all season long, due to the numbers, due to the players that are out, due to injuries and whatnot. So I think Webster is a team that could benefit from maybe playing a JV schedule. But let's bring it back to the Activities Association. I think they need to relook at how they determine what class of football you should play in. Because Webster, with only 25 guys, or however many they have, that makes it very difficult for them to field just an 11-man team to play 11-man football when you can barely practice with an 11-man offense and an 11-man defense. It's just, how are you supposed to make things work? It makes it very difficult. So my proposal is you look at teams who are in 9AA, for an example. Britton Hecla is a team that they've been 9AA for a long time. They've done very well at 9AA, but they're right on the edge of being an 11B school. They just got moved up to Class A for basketball last season. So they are right there. They're one of those edging teams. I think what the South Dakota High School Activities Association should do is look at football enrollment over the past 5 years and determine what class you should be in by that, and not by your male enrollment, because you have schools like Webster who, yeah, their male enrollment tells them that they could manage being an 11B school, but their football numbers say otherwise. It's not about the kids in your school, it's about the kids who are actually playing the sport. That's my thought on it. I think that is what the Activities Association should just take a look at. I think it's worth looking at because, I mean, it's not fun for anybody when your team is going out there and talking about and going out there and just getting smashed every week because you don't have enough kids to hardly field a team. Like, that's not fun for anybody. It's not fun for the coaches. It's not fun for the kids. It's not fun for the fans. It's not fun for anybody. And that's allegedly what the Activities Association is about. It's about having fun, about giving people chances to succeed, which, you know, in their mission, they've done a pretty nice job, but there's ways to improve it, I think. You know, a team like Webster, if you know, over the last 5 years, if you're only averaging 30 kids out for football, you're telling me that there's enough kids there to field a full 11-man team and, you know, compete? I would say no, it's not. It's just not possible unless you just have loaded athletes. You know, we see it in Hamlin. Hamlin, they've been Class A for basketball for a lot of years, but they in football play 9AA. Now, part of that is because they have kids who aren't allowed to play sports due to their religion that go to their schools, so that's how they can petition down to 9AA, and I think that's fine. I don't have anything for or against that. It is what it is. But I think you could see other schools who don't have the numbers for football potentially think about petitioning down, or, you know, if the Activities Association put in a rule that it's via your football enrollment, you are placed in this class, whether it be on, you know, 11A, B, 9A, AA, 9A. And, you know, I think it comes back to the fact that there's too many classes of football in general in the state of South Dakota, in my opinion. We have 3 9-man classes and 4 11-man classes. It's a lot. It's a lot of football classes, and it's, you know, I don't know exactly why they do it the way that they do, but they've been doing it for a lot of years. And you have schools like, you know, Tri-Valley, for example, who they teeter between 11B and 11A because they're just right on that cut line where I think if you combined 11B and 11A, you would have a pretty decent football team. And you could do that if you based classes off of how many kids go out for football. Because now you're not worrying about, well, this school, they're an 11A school, and they're a bit bigger than what we are at 11B. And yeah, it's true, but if you have similar amounts of kids who play football, then it shouldn't matter, right? I mean, that's just my thought process on the whole thing. I don't know. That's just, these are the things that I think about. This is why I made Car Thoughts, so I can just talk about it, and hopefully maybe you guys agree with me. If not, that's okay too. I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you want to get down into the comment section, comment. Be sure to like, subscribe to the Power 106.3 YouTube channel as well, so you don't miss a football game, a basketball game, or whatever games that we're doing in the future, or future content that we're going to be putting out on our YouTube page as well. Like I said, next week we're going to be in Groton for Groton area versus Clark Willow Lake, so I look forward to talking to you then.